So, hi everyone. I am very excited and I looked forward to this session for the longest. I'm very humbled to know that it's finally coming to life. Thank you very much, Rachel. Thank you very much, Farida and Conrad, for making this dream a reality, if I can call it like that. I wanted to do a bit of introduction about Next Gen. I know most people here on this platform might not be very acquainted by Next Gen, what we're doing as an organization. It's just seeing a scholarship opportunity and they're like, yay, yay, they're posting about opportunities. But, it's an organization that is more than that. And our dream and vision is that education is a basic right. And it is your right to, realize, actualize your academic dreams. So if you dream it, you should will it and it should come to life. That's why and how we're existing as an organization. So I am called Rachel. I don't want to put a lot of spotlight to myself. I just want the whole spotlight to be on the panelists. But before anything else, I would like to also talk about something very important about Next Gen, our flagship department, which is the mentorship program. So most of the people on these platforms, I assume that most of them are either current students or aspiring to be students, maybe for a grad, presumably. If we have also some high schoolers in the house, that is even much better. So we have a mentorship program, and what we do in the mentorship program, it's basically a 1 year program where we bring students together, we train them, we equip them with the necessary skills to apply to different institutions across the globe. We review your materials and so whatnot. So, applications can be very, very tricky, very difficult. First of all, finding opportunities, navigating the opportunity and so whatnot. So we try to lessen the baggage that comes with that, and we do that through our mentorship program. So there is so much that we're doing as an organization, and there is so much that we are hoping to do. And we invite you, please follow our pages, follow our website, go to our website, see what we are doing, and see how best you can benefit and also get involved. So enough of our Next Gen. I want to also send a very huge appreciation to Rachel and Farida for taking the initiative, because part of what we're doing is raising awareness about different global opportunities that African students can actually apply to and ace. And how we do that is that we bring fellow African students who've also walked the journey to kind of shed light on that, how they got the opportunities, how they navigated the same challenges that we too are navigating currently as students who are applying. So it's very much easier to hear it from someone who has walked the journey, other than, seeing it as a post, Canadian opportunity or some. But if someone comes on this platform, say, hey, I'm an African student, here we have the same status quo, but hey, this is how I navigated the whole situation. So we are going to learn a lot from these people, and there's so much that we're going to learn from these people. And something I'd like to highlight is that these people are not paid. It's just you reach out to them, they don't know you, they don't know the organization, but you tell them the vision, you tell them the work that you're doing, and that resonates with them and their journey. And you're like, you know what? I want us to come together, join hands, join forces to change the status quo. So if that's what you're doing, we're jumping on board. So that's why we see the likes of Rachel and Farida coming back to share with us the aspiration. So thank you very much, Rachel and Farida, and we're looking forward to hearing from you all the insights that you're going to be sharing. And to our audience, thank you very much for making the time to be here. Make it count, make it meaningful. If you have any questions, if you have any but so what not, just note it down, and I'm pretty much sure Conrad and the team will be more than willing to address all the queries. That's it. That's all from me. Conrad, over to you. Thank you very much.
A very big vote of thanks to you as well. I know you didn't want to take some of the credit, but yeah, you've been an awesome director, and thank you for putting this together. So much work that has gone in behind the scenes, and kudos to you and the team at NextGen. Starting from Julia's communication team and all the rest. So, anyways, so again, welcome everybody. Today we're going to be talking about McCall MacBain Scholarship, and we'll be talking about the power of choices and the courage and what it means to bet on yourself. And so today we have two guests, Rachel and Farida. And these are living examples of what happens when preparation, because there's as we'll see, lots of it go into it, and purpose meet. And so if you would allow me to dive right in and get started. Just a brief background, just to explore the early journey. Let's go way back to early journey, primary or secondary school.
Hi, everyone. My name is Rachel Lopukrefie. I'm from Ghana, the Ashanti region to be specific. And the kind of student I was in primary, I think I was a good student. I have been a good student like throughout my life, if I should say. Um, I realized I was a good student, like I was a really good student back in secondary school. I went to a girls' school, an all-girls school, Yasantua Girls Senior High School, also in the Ashanti region. And after that, I was a science student. After that, I went to Ken UST. And I chose that school because of proximity. I didn't want to move from the region that I was. And it's also one of the best, if not the best university in Ghana. Some would disagree, but then, yeah, it's my school. And even at the university level, I realized I was a good student, like right from level 100 to 400, I was a first class student. So that is it. That is me. I don't know if there's any other thing I'm supposed to say.
Your undergrad, I guess.
Oh, my
Yeah.
undergrad. Okay, so I
Yeah.
was in the Department of Forest Resource Technology. So I'm a natural resource manager. I'm a forestry student. I specialize in ecotourism and forest recreation. And that is how come I found myself here. Yes, I'm a proud natural babe. Yes.
That's awesome. That's wonderful to hear from you, Rachel. And over to you, Farida. Let's get to hear a little bit about you and your background.
My name is Farida. I am from Nigeria. So all my schooling was in Nigeria. I think just like Rachel, I think I was a good student. I'm not sure if I'm still a good student now, but I know then I was good. And my undergrad was in pharmacy. So I am a pharmacist. And I think I had first class all through from 100 till 500. I think that me. I've been like that all through. Now I don't think I take school as serious as I used to then because life is there's more to life than reading books. So, but don't mind me, it's because I've just reached where I need to be. So now I've just decided to give up on the whole school thing. Yeah, but
Yes, yes, and it's true. There's more to life than books, and we'll get into that part later. But we just and in this part, I think what we want to know also is, so how did you make, where did you get that passion for what you're pursuing now? So take us through how you made a decision to, do your whatever you did in bachelor's, and yeah, how did that passion develop? Because we have some of the students who are here who just finished high school. How do they channel some of these passions and apply them in real life in school, make the choice in school?
okay. I think for me, because currently I'm studying experimental medicine, but my focus is on cancer research. So that's it for me, cancer research. On my time as a pharmacist, I worked in the hospital for about 1 year, and I knew I worked in the cancer unit, which was where all the passion came from. I got to work with patients. I got to hear their stories, and for me, each time I had the story, I was like, I needed to find a cure for these things. That was like my driving force.
And so we'll move into discovering the McBain. So, um, what, so how did you first hear about the McBain Scholarship? Was it through Google? Was it through a friend or a professor? Just shed some light on how you got to know about this award.
Okay, so for me, I did not know anything about the scholarship, nothing at all. After uni, you're supposed to work 1 year as a national service student, and I did that 1 year at the university as a teaching assistant. So my head of department, Dr. Sylvia Edu, sent me a WhatsApp message one morning whilst I was getting ready for work. And she was like, oh, I just saw this scholarship and I think you're the perfect candidate. And that was like the first time I got to know about the whole McCall MacBain Scholarship or in it. I've never. So I was like, no. I looked at the requirements and I thought, no, they won't just 10 people globally. No, I don't think so. Looking out first my background and stuff like that, I'm like, no, I might not be the perfect one. But the woman encouraged me and was like, no, I think you're the perfect place. You should apply through IPO and UST. And I was like, okay. So I approached the scholarship just because I didn't want the woman to feel like, oh, she gave me an opportunity and I didn't follow up or I didn't pursue it. No, I was just doing this to make her feel like, yeah. So I sent the application and the rest is history, like you guys know. Yeah, that is how come I found out.
That's beautiful. And did you said it's a professor? Was this a professor of yours, you said?
Yes.
And
So
then,
after that time, I was working with her on a project. So I had direct contact with her. She was the HOD of my department at that time, Dr.
okay.
Sylvia Edu. So thank you so much if you ever get to hear this. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, and was she an alumni of the scholarship herself, or she just
No, she
okay.
just saw the opportunity somewhere and then, yeah,
Oh,
I
that's
came to mind.
interesting. And how about you, Farida? How did you learn about the McCall MacBain Scholarship?
It's something similar. Someone, my state actually, because where I stay in Kaduna, they regularly post scholarship opportunities. And I think 2 months before the scholarship started, they posted the opportunity. And I remember setting a reminder on my phone for June 1st. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to apply for this scholarship. I didn't even know what it was for. And then June 1st, the notification came in like, what is McCall MacBain? Who set this notification? I was very shocked. But I decided to check it and I looked at everything. It was very, very impossible. I'm like, just 10 people. No, it's not me. Like they won't pick me. But then I applied for it and I'm here today. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, so every time I get, to hear from people who actually get these scholarships, it's always a beginning that's kind of you don't fully, you know, believe in yourself. But what is it about your stories? Like what in your opinion, what is it about your story uh that you think made you stand out in the application? And that goes to you, Farida. I guess we'll begin with you. Yeah.
Honestly, I don't know because when we talk among scholars, we all have different stories. We came from different background. And I don't think we've ever sat down to like, okay, listen to what everybody wrote down. I can't tell you precisely that this is what you did that made them select you.
Right. Yes.
And because looking at everything I submitted for my application, everything was very, very diverse. I am a pharmacist. I wanted to go for cancer research, but I knew my leadership was something related to youth empowerment. And then my community too was something related to healthcare. And my course correction was just like something like all my stories were very, very disjointed. But I feel the scholarship has a set of criteria that they are looking for, which is like, I think it's on the website, about 5 of them. So I feel if you're able to tick those things, you might be somebody they look out for. But when it comes to the underlying story, everybody is very, very different. And I know my story and Rachel is worlds apart. And that's the same thing. And we are even from the same region. So now thinking about scholars from all over the world, you might be doing something related to your community and something related to sports. Nobody knows what a scholarship is.
Interesting. And Rachel, what's your take on that? What do you
Yeah, I
think?
think
Yeah.
I totally agree with Farida. I have no idea how they selected us. I don't know. They've stated the criteria on the website, but as to how they really selected us, I have no idea. I don't know what about my application made me stand out. Because looking at the other 29 scholars I met, we have different stories to tell. We come from different places, different backgrounds. So it will be very difficult to actually pinpoint that, oh, this is what made my story stand out. I feel like it was my story and I told it the best way I knew how to tell it. And maybe that is what made the difference. I did not necessarily have a very coherent story. Like my whole application was not centered on one particular storyline. There were different aspects of my life when it comes to community, leadership, academics, and things like that. I feel what most stood out for me will probably be the community aspect and then the academic aspect. Entrepreneurship, I had zero experience. At that time, I think I was part of the Tony Elumedu Foundation. That was like the only entrepreneurship experience I had. So even if we're going by that, I don't think I would stand out. So yeah, I have no idea how I stood out. Maybe it's God, maybe it's grace, maybe it's just how I told my story.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And so Farida, I believe you talked about your passion for cancer, or is that what you talked about in your
Yeah.
application? And as for you,
No,
Rachel,
just
yeah,
the
like
cancer is just like one part of my application, just like a very, very tiny part of my application. And I never mentioned it again. And I don't think the scholarship was even looking at that. I think I mentioned cancer because they wanted to know the course I was applying for and what I wanted
Right.
to do with it. But that's like very small.
Very small part. And as for you, Rachel, you talked about what passion did you talk about? Like try to single out like one of the passions.
Yes. So I was very much interested, and I am still interested in community-based resource management. I am very, very passionate about balancing conservation with the livelihoods of rural communities, especially those around forested areas. So that is what made me stood out. And also the fact that I had experience working in a national park in a very remote part of the country where a lot of young people do not necessarily want to go and work. So maybe that is the story that stood empire out. I mean, I don't know.
That's very interesting. Yeah. And I think as a takeaway, I think one thing, first of all, is this participate in as much as you can before. Rachel, you talked about the Tony Elumelu Foundation. I know Tony Elumelu I think he also has some dealings in Rwanda, but I'm not so sure. Don't quote me on that. But he's a famous entrepreneurship figure. So some of these things, so take as many opportunities as you can. Is essentially the message here, and McCall MacBain Scholarship is one of them, but as a precursor, try to apply or engage in as many of these activities that shape you holistically as a person, outside the academic realm, but as well as in the academic realm. I think is one of the take, and then also like tell your story honestly, like give your honest passion, and try to channel it. Try to make it as concise as possible as far as you can take it. So in this case, resource management and then cancer, but try to give it and as honestly as you can. I think is a general take from this segment. So now that we have heard how, the story was and how far you have come through the story. So let's go to the practical side of things. Where process meets the personality, which is the next segment actually, like telling the honest story. Uh, what do you think was the toughest part of the application? Was it the statement? Was it the recommendation? I know there is interviews at the later stage, but what through the application do you think was the toughest to handle?
I think for me it was both writing the essays and getting the recommendation. Because I know I started my application from the very first day, and I didn't submit until 2 weeks before the end of the application period.
I
I was
know.
working then. I always had a paper on me in my pocket, and I was jotting down things, and then it took a lot of writing because I had like a set of stories I initially wrote, and I like this is not going to work, and then I started from the beginning, and I know what really changed the stories I later submitted for the scholarship. I reached out to somebody, is a Knight NSC scholar, and I reached out to him, and the first thing he told me was, okay, you're applying for this really big scholarship. Tell me about you, Farida. And then I started talking about myself. There was no template. I didn't even know he was going to ask me to talk about myself. And I know I talked about everything I was doing, and it was like, hold on. I hope this is what you are writing for this scholarship. I'm like, no, this is not what I'm writing. This is your story. When you were talking about it, you talked about it with so much passion. And I was working with girls, working for this community. It's like I could see how happy you were talking about this thing, and you have to write about it because this is where you shine the most. And I changed everything about my application. So sometimes writing essays might not really work for you. You might need to talk to somebody about everything you're doing in your life and let that person see your passion and maybe point it out to you, because most times for people that do a lot of things, you do so many things that it becomes hard for you to even recognize that you've done these many things. someone doesn't point it out to you. So you do need people around you to help with these things. And I know for my recommendation, it was Africans. It's almost impossible to see your vice chancellor in my school. It's an impossible feat. I'm serious. One, the
Yeah.
country was on strike, so all
Mhm.
universities were closed down, and I was expected to somehow meet the VC. One, like the Senate building, which is where the whole governance of the university takes place, was even locked. Students were not allowed to go in. And I don't know, as Rachel said, grace, because I met so many people who got so many letters for me until it got to the vice chancellor. And then I'm like, okay, now that I've gotten the vice chancellor's approval, this is the sign. I am going to do this till the end, because when working with the McCall MacBain Scholarship, it's very easy to give up. So it's like, I want just 10 people. So every time you look at it, you're like, I can't be part of these 10 people. But if you're able to get your recommenders to send in their letters and maybe get your vice chancellor's recommendation, it becomes harder for you to give up on the scholarship because you wouldn't want to disappoint these people. So that's just it for me.
Yes, yes, and I'm glad you shedded light on the value of mentorship. I know at NextGen we have different mentorship cohorts. We have the graduate mentorship as well as the undergraduate mentorship. And mentors go along the way. I know myself. I know I had the courtesy of having mentors. Actually, my mentor was the founder of NextGen. So Kalisa Julius is my mentor going into my graduate studies. And like you said, like you need a second eye. You always need a second opinion. And sometimes the story you tell sometimes it's halfway. I don't know if that's the way to call it. And the mentor really pushes you to clear out these things and bring out your best self in the scholarship. And as well as you talked about getting those recommendations. I think recommendations are uh, a li- are are very critical in terms of getting them, and you have to start early when you're looking for them, in order to get them on time and hunt down the people that are supposed to actually recommend you. And I think one last thing you talked about was you constantly, it was on your mind, always jotting down and changing your narrative as you go, which is one thing that people really miss out is, you're tight for time. You just scramble and write down, the first go you go is the one you take, or the first draft is the one you submit. It's always a process of iteration and trying to, revise this applications to make them the best they can. And I think I also have to hear from you, Rachel, the same thing actually, which is, what do you think the practical side of things, what do you think was the hardest part in this application for you?
I think the hardest part was putting my thoughts together for the essays, because I had to put over 20 years of my life into a few words for it to make sense to someone who knew nothing about where I'm coming from. And painting a picture that will make the person know something about me was a very hard thing to do. So like Farida, I was also working at that time, and it was on my mind almost every single minute. And I was constantly writing on my phone, the notepad on my phone. I would jot down points, and when I get home after work, I would put flesh to the skeletons I jotted down during the day. But I had a very good community supporting me, like a very good community. I cannot be grateful or thankful to my lecturer, Dr. Vincent Kusiche, who there was constant review of my essays. Like I would write one piece and I would send it to him. He would give me feedback and then give it back to me. I would rewrite, send it to him. It was like that back and forth until we got what I can term the perfect essay. And also IPO Ken Resi played a major role. Unlike Farida, I did not have to worry about getting a VC endorsement, because IPO University had already taken care of that through an interview session we had before that. So I knew once I submit my application, I was going to get the endorsement from my VC. I did not have to chase anybody around to get that endorsement. So yes, my university played a key role. My lecturer helped me so much. So yeah, I think the most difficult part will just be that thought, gathering the thought and making meaning out of it, making sure that my story actually makes sense. And then anybody who picks up my story without knowing me or where I come from can imagine what I've been through and the story that I'm telling you.
Right. And yes, you raise a very good point, which is again like choosing your mentors and telling your story, also constant changing. But when it comes to recommenders, how did you choose? I know, Farida, you're talking about your vice chancellor, and you're talking about a dear professor of yours. How did you choose? How do you choose them? Like, how do you choose your recommenders, essentially?
I choose someone who has always like rooted for me from the very first day. Is my lecturer, Dr. Abdulhakim. Every time I go to him, it's like, if you ever need 100 recommendations, I'll always write for you. I am always rooting for you. So I know for someone like this, I explained to him, this is the kind of thing I am applying for. I'm like, okay, yes, I am going to give you this recommendation. I know he's always on my end. If the scholarship needed to call him, it would say nothing but excellence on my behalf. He speaks for me even when I am not there. He fights for me. He calls my name. So this person, I could trust him to always be there for me, because recommendation is something very, very dicey. You don't know if the scholarship is going to call these people. You don't want to put somebody's name who wouldn't be able to say anything, like, because it goes beyond just saying, oh, this person is a good student. What else do they know about you? And that is what is important for these people. It can't be the surface level thing. So it must be somebody that can vouch for you. And so you have to be very selective about the person you'll be asking to recommend you. Then, like, when they wake up from their sleep, they're like, oh, this person is the best person I know. And they should say it sincerely. So it's very, very important.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Farida.
Yeah.
And yes, knowing you intimately is the passion of somebody who will avidly support you. And and yes, I'll hear from Rachel, and then I'll share my piece as well right after you do. Yeah, go ahead, Rachel.
No, it's the same thing. I chose people who knew me beyond the surface. So I picked out of the 6 criteria that or is it 6 or 5 criteria that the scholarship was looking for? I picked 2 that I felt I was very strong in, which was the academic excellence and then the community engagement. And out of these 2, I picked people who knew me very well in these areas. So for academic, I picked my supervisor because I've worked with him from undergrad to 400, like level 100 to 400. So he knew me academically, and I knew he would speak of my academic excellence if they asked about it. And community engagement, I picked a manager that I've worked with that I knew could attest to my community engagement skills. If they asked him anything about the activities that I did there and I knew how I worked with him, the person will be able to tell my story the way I want it to be told. You do not want to put just anybody's name on it, and when the person is reached out to, the person cannot really tell what exactly you did or who you are and things like that. And one thing I did was, when I first saw the scholarship, I made them aware I'll be needing a reference from you people by these dates. So I gave them like a month or 2 for them to be aware. It wasn't a rushed process. They already knew, and I was constantly checking in, reminding them that, oh, I'll be needing it by this day, I'll be needing that by. I did not wait until I had the perfect essays or the perfect application before reaching out to people for reference. If that happens, you put pressure on them, and then they are forced to write just anything, just so you can submit the application. But if you give them time, they are able to sit down, really think about their relationship with you, and then write a recommendation or a reference letter that speaks to who you are as a person.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Rachel. Like exactly, like your recommender should be able to passionately and avidly advocate for you in their own word and not just surface level. They should be able to pinpoint your strength as a candidate for the scholarship, your interests. They should be able to pinpoint that. And I think, like I was in a conversation this week, actually last week, and I was talking to this person and they're talking about networks. And in my case, I was thinking, how do you network? How do you network your way through getting into, like a position, PhD or a scholarship in this case. And what my takeaway from that conversation is sometimes it's not even about the network goes only so much. Sometimes if you approach it in a network in a networking angle, then it's more transactional. So there is no, you're just doing it so that you can, you're getting something from them, and sometimes you not necessarily have anything to give back to that recommender. But one thing they recommended to do was focus on the work you're doing now. Make the work you're doing now the best advocate for yourself. Put in, give your best output, and that in turn will, unroll a sequence of events that, or a sequence of relations, because people will recognize you for the good work you put out, for how passionate you are for some of the subjects you're going to talk about. And when it comes to time for you to pick a recommender, you have all these people who know you for your strength, who know you for the good work you do, and can attest to that. Because like nobody wants to put their name behind somebody who's half-baked, who does who puts in half the effort. They want to see somebody, they want to put truly behind somebody who's passionate and puts 100% in the work they do. And I think this goes to like all genres of the people we have here. So both undergrad and graduate applications. For the undergrads, for the people going into undergrad, you probably have your high school teachers, and hopefully you have done well. But once you navigate through bachelors, I know it's kind of easy for us to divert and go. You have so many things running at the same time. Sometimes it's hard to produce, but focus on doing your best work, and your work will be your best recommender, or will produce the best recommenders. And I know we both talked about recommenders now, and we talked about personal essays, and now we would like to go into interviews. What do you think? What do you think was the preparation for the interviews like? And I'll start with you, Rachel. What do you think? What do you think went into the preparation for that interview? Now that you have applied, now that you've been shortlisted and called in for an interview, what went into the preparation for that interview?
In preparing for the interview, again, I cannot thank the kind of community I had enough. My university was always there. They made sure I had everything I needed for the interview because they knew I was applying. So I had the backing of my whole university rooting me. Again, the lecturer who reviewed my essays for me gave me his office because it's an online interview. So the first phase of the interview for Africans is online. And it took about 5 to 6 hours, if I should say, of interviews. We had like 3 interviews during those 5-6 hours. And the professor was kind enough to give me his office, his Wi-Fi, his laptop, his speakers, microphone. Like he set his office up for me. And this is someone who recommended me. So that should tell you that, okay, I chose the right person to be my recommender. Because if the person is willing to go this far for me, just to see that I get to a certain point in life, then the person writing a good recommendation letter for me would not be a problem at all. So this lecturer gave me his office, set it up for me, coached me on, because he studied in Canada, so he knew how the Canadian system works. You get it. And I had 2 professors who did their graduate studies in Canada. So I reached out to them. Okay, I have this interview coming up in the Canadian university. What do you think I should do? So they gave me tips. They coached me. And then I practiced what they said. I remember a day before, I was sitting in the office. I was the only person at the TA's office. And the lecturer walked in. I was like, oh, what are you doing? Why are you still here? I was like, oh, I have this interview tomorrow. And then what's the interview about? I told him. And I was like, oh, yeah, do you know I studied in Canada? So he sat down with me and was like, Canadians are like this. This is how you should approach questions like that. So that was it. I took points from that man and then the person who helped me set up his office. And that was my preparation. And again, I made sure I knew why I wrote certain things in my essays. I knew my essays off head. I knew I could justify anything I've stated in the essays. It wasn't an essay I wrote about just anyone. It was my story that I told. So I knew I could defend whatever question that comes out of that application because it wasn't a lie. It was my story. And if anybody could answer anything about my life, it is me. And the interview was solely based on my application. There weren't any general questions, nothing outside what I wrote in the application. So defending it wasn't going to be a problem. That is how I prepared. I had the support of my lecturers, my university. They made sure I was comfortable. They made sure I had Wi-Fi because where we come from, Africa, certain things can just happen and then an opportunity that you're supposed to grab will just slip out of your hands. But because I had a very good support system, they made sure I had everything in place needed for the interview. And that was it.
Yes, that's very interesting. And you talk about this and my mind just goes to, some of these people who go out of their way to make sure that you succeed in life and you can't trade them for you can't repay them in any kind of way. And yeah, like all you can do is, make sure you don't disappoint them, but it gives you a burden of just gratitude, I guess, is what you have to is how I can describe it. And yes, like you said, like anyways, let's first listen to Farida. I know I'm talking about myself so much. Let's first listen to Farida and then yeah. So Farida, what is it about the interviews, the process of preparing for them, that made you how did you prepare for the interviews essentially?
For me, my preparation was very simple, but because I was doing everything solo. I know I told Rachel this. I didn't tell anybody I applied for the scholarship. Aside the recommenders and my school, I didn't tell my siblings. I was just doing it solo because I was like, okay, what if I don't get it? If I don't get it, then nobody knows I applied. So it's just going to be my shame. I was very silent about the whole process. Um, but before the interview, the scholarship will organize a webinar for you and they will tell you what to expect on that day. And I wish I listened to them because they will tell you this is what they are going to ask. But then you'll be like, oh, maybe they'll ask something outside this. They will not ask anything outside that. So when you go into the interview, nobody is going to ask you to introduce yourself. They'll call you by your name. Oh, hi, Rachel. We're happy to meet you. The interviewers, they've read your essays. They know every single thing about you. If there's anything about your life that is important enough to be online, they know everything about you. And the only way to go through the whole interview process is to know your what you wrote down more than the interviewers. And that's what sets you apart because they will ask very pointed questions. If you say you've done this, why did you do it? What was the aim? How did you do it? Who are the people that like very specific details that it makes it impossible for you to lie and go through the interview process? Because they will ask you very, very pointed questions. It will be very specific, and sometimes it can be very tough because it will feel as if they are trying to like poke into your life. But that's the main aim of the scholarship. They want to know everything about you, and that's why it's very good for you to write your essays yourself, to be able to justify everything you put in your application, to not overhype things you've done just for you to get the scholarship. You will be found out. And aside that, the whole process is very chilled. Mine, I remember I started around 12 p.m. and it finished around 7 p.m. So it's a very long scholarship interview process, but you will be given breaks in between just to refresh or to just stay silent and be on your own. For the interview, you need very good internet. You need the light to be good, because I know people that had issues with their internet on that day, and it can be very destabilizing to have your internet mess up that day. So I know for me, I had like 3 network providers, and for all 3 network providers, I had internet on them. So when one was messing up, I switched to the other, or I had to switch in the middle of my interview. And I remember for the last interview, they had to tell me to turn off my video because internet was messing up. So it's like, we've seen your face, turn off your video, it gets better without your video. Your internet must be good, because if your internet is not going well, it affects your mood, it affects your performance. So you want to, if you have to, because I was working then, I had to leave my workplace to go and stay in my brother's place. He had internet, he had constant power supply. If you have to move out of your city just to do the interview, because when you get the scholarship, your life changes. It is that thing that is worth all the stress that you have to go to just to put in your best performance. But
Mhm.
honestly, the regional interview for me was harder. The final interview was very chilled.
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
very chilled, because I think for the regional interviews, you'll be interviewing with African leaders, and these are people that know your community. That's why you can't lie to them, because they know everything. They live in your country. They know the situation of Africa. They know what is happening. If you said you won $1 million, how did you win $1 million that it was not national news? They live in
Yes.
Africa. They know the backstory. You can't bullshit these people. But
Mhm.
for the Canada interview, it was more chilled. It was more friendly. It was more relaxed for me, and I didn't even have to prepare for the interview process. So for people, you might waste your time checking YouTube videos, memorizing how to introduce yourself, where do you see yourself in the next 3 years? It's not going to, it's strictly your essays. Why did you do this? What did you achieve with this? Oh, you said you led this thing. How did you lead this thing? It's your essay, you wrote it, so you should be able to prove everything you put into the application. That's just it.
Yes. Thank you so much for it. And yes, like you said, this just goes far to say your application is holistic. So whatever you put in writing should be a testament to who you really are. And like you said, Farida, you do your first draft of essays. You talk to a mentor. The mentor is like, I hope you're writing this, and then you go back and change the essays, which now reflect who you truly are. And when it comes to the interview process, they're looking at the essays that show who you truly are, and the essays are the ones which generate the questions that they ask you. So it's very important that you think of this process as holistic and put as much care or as much attention to your aces, because they're the only thing. Words are the just words on a piece of paper or on a screen are the only thing that are going to be your advocate to tell your story. So it's very important to articulate yourself, to go over and over through those words. Make sure they're concise, and they're none of them are just there for being there. They are sending a message with every word you're putting there. And like you said, this should show everybody that some of these things you prepare for. It's not, I know we talked about grace at some point, but some of these things you really have to prepare for. Having a backup for a backup for a backup, 3 internet providers, to make sure that you have a secure, or you have a peace of mind when you're doing the interview. Because I know, like, it when it throws you off, it really does throw you off, and it's very hard to come back and prove your point, because you only have one shot at it, and that's it. And so you have to put as much preparation and attention to detail. The lighting is one thing that came up. How are they able to see your face? Are they able to, you know, because much of what to say is words. Like, imagine the difference between an audio as a Twitter space versus this, it's more intimate. You see facial expressions, you see all these gestures that add to your story, I guess. Um, and I think as a parting ways for this segment, I guess, do you think, and this goes to any of you, one of you can answer, do you think there's any one question that really, threw you off? I know most of the questions came from the personal statements that you wrote, but do you think there is any question that was out of the blue or threw you off in the interview session?
Yeah, I think for me it was one.
Yeah.
After I answered the leadership question, she was like, "Okay, you've answered this. No, so now Farida, tell us, how do you lead?" I'm like, "How do I lead? How? What exactly do you
Yeah.
want me to say?"
Yeah.
I was very shocked because I wasn't expecting that, and it's a very valid question. So, tell us, how do you lead? You said you're a leader. How have you led people so far?
Mm.
And I wasn't expecting that. And I remember seeing it on YouTube because Nicole said they asked her the same question, how do you lead? And I'm like, oh no, it's not possible. They will never ask me something like this. And that was what they asked, like, now tell us, how do you lead? And so just be prepared.
Yes. Yes. And hopefully you found the correct answer to
Yeah,
that question.
I did that. I'm here.
I mean, I got the same question as well. Like, I got a very similar, or I think the same question, but that wasn't as bad as they asking me if I believe in failure. That was a question I thought, okay, no,
Yeah.
why are you asking me that? But then I was like, oh yeah, I mean, I do believe in failure. And I think I answered that question very well because here I am right now. So yeah, my question about failure and if I've ever failed in life before and what I did to overcome that feeling that comes with having failed at something. That was a question that I wasn't really expecting, but then yeah, I got it.
That's very interesting. Yeah, yeah, like how do you lead? Um, yeah, it's a simple question, but it's very deep rooted, and the
Yeah.
answer is it's one of those questions that really set you apart from the rest. Because if you're a normal applicant, you would give generic answers. But if you I guess I don't know. There's very ways to answer that, but yeah, like be prepared for some of these questions that get you off your feet and get prepared for that. And yeah, so it's interesting. So you've gone through this journey, you've done your statements, you have been shortlisted, regional interview, Canadian interview. And so the moment of truth comes, like where were you guys when you found out the news of this success? Can you
I was
describe
Um,
at
that
home.
moment?
Yeah.
Yeah, Rachel.
Sorry. I was at home. My flight landed, I know it was on a Monday. My flight landed at 7 a.m. So I was sleeping all day. And I
Mhm.
woke up, I saw missed calls, I received emails, and I went on WhatsApp, like, Farida, I've been trying to reach out to you all day. I'm like, well, I was sleeping. I just landed in Nigeria. And they're like, okay, join the call because for everybody, even if you get the scholarship or you do not get the scholarship, you get that video call. So I
Mhm.
up on the call and I remember I wasn't even dressed properly. I thought it was like something normal. So I just entered the call and then I remember seeing John and Natasha. I'm like, please hold on a bit. I need to go and dress properly. So they held on for like 5 minutes for me to get dressed. And then I joined the video back and they're like, you got the scholarship. I remember shouting. I shouted. I was very shocked and it was wonderful. It was really wonderful.
And I think when we're still, but what did this mean to you? Like, what did this mean to your community or if your family? Like, can you contextualize what this scholarship meant in a broader sense to you?
It means a lot because for me, I've always said the scholarship for me goes beyond the finances. There is more to the scholarship beyond finances. There is a network you gain for life. The
Mhm.
amount of the people we've met, there are people I would have never met without the scholarship. Even if I would meet them, it would take me time to get to that point. You get the network that the scholarship gives you. You get a coach, a career coach, and the coach walks you through so many things that you see visible changes in your life. So if you're working on things within the community, with your career coach, you become better equipped to handle all these things. And then we have leadership section that gives you real life scenarios. So it builds you to be a better person for yourself, a better person to handle the problems within your community, to better serve your community. And you now know a lot of people that can help you achieve these things. So these are things that money cannot even buy. And you see a world of opportunities that the scholarship gives you, and you just know that your life will change forever. That's just like your life changes forever with the scholarship.
Yes. And over to you, Rachel. How did you hear about the good news?
So unlike Farida, I was still in Canada. I stayed extra days because I was visiting some friends here. And I remember it was morning, and I had John as well, the CEO, and Anya, who was in charge of selections at that time. So they called me. They first sent me an email asking if I'm still in Canada or I'm in Ghana and how best they can contact me. So I was like, oh, you can give me a WhatsApp call. So they called me on WhatsApp, and I saw John, I saw Anya. I was still in my night wear because it was morning, and John went like, oh, hi, Rachel, how are you doing? So thank you for coming. And my mom was like, just go straight to the point, go straight to the point. And then he was like, yeah, you got in. And at that moment, I just sat there and I started crying. So they take pictures of the very moment that they tell you. And my picture is so bad because I was crying at that point. And I remember after the call, I called my mom back home in Ghana, and it was just crazy. For a moment, I couldn't believe that girl from Ghana, that girl from Ashanti region, was part of the 10 people globally. Do you know what it means to actually know that you've competed with people from different places all over the world, and you've been selected as one of 10, not one of 100, one of 10? That alone tells you that, no, you are doing something great, that you might not necessarily think that anybody's watching, or it might not make sense at this particular point in life, but then along the line, people will see your hard work and reward you for it. And that was how I felt. I did not know that working in that community, working in that national park, even studying forestry or natural resource, doing ecotourism will bring me where I am today. But then my story was somehow meaningful or impactful enough for me to be given this opportunity. And it was a big thing for my university as well, because they knew the efforts they actually put in my application. I remember telling the lecturer who helped me with my applications and then my interviews, and just seeing how proud he was of me was just enough. That I've been able to make these people proud. Now they know that their effort wasn't in vain. And to me, it wasn't, like Farida said, it wasn't just the money. Yes, the money actually is like very, very important, because who wants to be paying school fees as an international student? But the mentorship that comes with it, the coaching, because I'm someone who really struggled at first when I got here. I could literally be sitting at a bus stop and I would start crying, because it was a lot of adjustments. One, it was a French-speaking city, and I knew little to no French. And I had left everything I knew back home in Ghana, and I had to start all over again in a foreign land where I knew nobody. But my coach came in at that point, and that is why this scholarship is quite different from a lot of scholarships. A lot of scholarships will just give you the money to fund your education and nothing else. But this one makes sure that you have a mentor to guide you along your career path. You have a coach to guide your decisions, whether emotional decisions, like anything you're going through at that point. And it also gives you a community. You get to meet 29 other people from different backgrounds who have different stories. The network that you get through that scholarship, even leadership sessions. They give you real life scenarios for you to play out and solve. I remember I had to sack, I would never forget this session. I had to sack, like I was an employer and how to sack an employee. And the employee that they gave me was the CEO at that time, Franca. And Franca is someone like I really, really respect. And I had to sack Franca. And even though I was the boss in that scenario, I nearly cried because of how the person reacted. So assuming, okay, in future you are the boss and you had to sack someone, are you going to end up crying? Because you really don't want to sack this person. So they give you different scenarios. We have resource people that come in to teach you how to run organizations, like different scenarios. So we go on retreats, and the retreats are something I like. Trips, it just goes beyond finances, honestly. The people, the community. I did not know Farida from anywhere. I met Farida for the first time during final interviews. And I don't think we really, really even engaged a lot during final interviews until we got here. But Farida is like one of my best people here right now. We used to go thrifting, we used to go to markets together. We will meet at Farida's house and share pizza. Like, this is the kind of community it gives you. I've met really amazing people. That money, like Farida said, wouldn't even buy this experience. My mentor, I've had one of the most amazing mentors in the scholarship. And even my current job that I'm doing right now, I got it through my mentor. So that should tell you the kind of scholarship this is. It's not just about the money, but the whole experience that it comes with. Yeah.
Mhm. And thank you so much. Thank you so much, Rachel. Because, you know, like you said, there are a slew of scholarships. There's so many scholarships out there. But you know, I have to give credit to Rachel and her team here. Rachel, the director. The fact that they chose the scholarship that goes beyond just giving money, just dishing out money, that leads you through life as a graduate, that builds you outside the public life, that gives you a mentor. And if anybody's on this call and you have never applied for some of these opportunities, because I personally take mentorship as something that's very important. It shapes you in so many ways. It's nice to have somebody who has been through it. And next gen is like, for those who don't know, we have we have WhatsApp groups that share these opportunities. We have the mentorship that run through. So please try to get yourself into an environment that can facilitate you opening up some of these opportunities for you to get mentors and to get mentored through the process. And yeah, new country, hopefully you know some French now, Rachel, do you? A little
Yeah,
bit?
I do. Well, Farida is very good. Let me
Yeah.
give credit to Farida. So Farida is like a brilliant student.
Very
So
interesting,
I
yeah.
took classes with Farida, but I stopped along the line because it was too much for me. But Farida
Mhm.
continued. So that should tell you the kind of person Farida is. See, perseverance from start to finish. And that is the kind of person I see her to be. I'm also
Mhm.
a scholar, but along the line, something happened and I had to drop the French. But she continued even during the summer. You get
Yes,
it?
yes, for
And right
sure.
now, I am super proud of Farida. And it's not just because I'm talking to her right now, but I see her communicating in French. I'm like, yeah, that's my girl. See, why wouldn't they select a person like that? You get
Exactly.
it? Yeah.
And I think we'll hear it in the next session, which is a Q&A. But like from where I sit, if I was to give this scholarship, it would definitely be to Rachel and Farida because I
What?
mean, these guys are eloquent. These guys are, they're engaging. They know the material. They come in prepared. They're really they're really meant for this opportunity in my perspective. And so now in the future, like just before we get into the Q&A session, we open it up for the Q&A. So everybody who has their burning questions, please get ready with that question. Just one pathway, and then we'll get into the question section. There's quite a few that I have here, but let me ask. So what does the future look like now? Like where are you guys now in life? Like um I know Rachel, you just talked about getting your job now through the connection you made through the McBain Scholarship. Like, where are you now? What's the horizon looking like for you guys? Yeah, over to you, Rachel, I guess. We'll begin with Rachel.
Yeah. So through the connection I made through my mentors network, I got a job, and I'm currently outside Montreal or Quebec. I'm in Nova Scotia right now working as a conservation assistant, which is very much in line with what I was doing back home. And it's so much in line with where I want to get to. I still have plans of doing a PhD, but I'm taking a year or two off to get some work experience and actually find the right path for me when it comes to PhD studies. But yes, I do see myself really, really engaging in community-based resource management, balancing conservation again with livelihoods of people. I'm very passionate about livelihoods of rural communities because I have worked in these communities. I've experienced what it means to live in these communities before. So just making life better for rural communities, especially around national parks and in places where there are a lot of forests, but people are not getting the value they are supposed to get to, is what I'm passionate about. So any activity at all that seeks to enrich people's lives counts me in. If any of you listening have like an opportunity where I can partake and help people in rural communities, counts me in, because that is what I'm passionate about. That is where I see myself really being active in the near future. Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. And how about you, Farida?
Oh, for me,
Yeah.
I don't know about a PhD, but I know I'm taking I'm taking a year or two of education. I'm tired, and I'm also taking like a year or so of cancer research because I feel it's a lot emotionally, and it's a very sad part. So I'm going to take a year off, explore, not think about education for like a year, take breaks, sleep. I don't know, just give myself a break because I don't think I've taken any break. It was from undergrad to my internship to doing the MSc. So I feel my body just needs at least a year to just unwind and then see what next.
For sure. Yeah, and yeah, thank you so much. Like exactly like, sometimes you have to take a step back and reflect, reconcile all you have been through and plot your way forward. PhD is in the talks with Rachel. I know, sometimes, masters is not an end in itself. Sometimes one has a passion to keep going, and yeah, we encourage everybody to follow through their passions as far as they can take them. So yeah, with that being said, we will open it up to the Q&A. I know we talked about Mabel. So I don't know, Mabel, do you still have your hand up? Can't see.
I am looking for Mabel, but in the meantime, those we put in the chat box.
Oh, okay. Okay. Is it yes, key eligibility criteria.
Okay. So
Yeah,
should I
go ahead.
answer the question? Okay.
Yeah.
So where to start from? Where I started from was identifying the best people to recommend me.
Mhm.
Do you get it? When I read the criteria for the scholarship, I sat down, who would be the best person to send me a recommendation? It's not someone who would just send me a recommendation on the surface. I want someone who would give detailed information about me, make whoever picks up my application know that, yes, this person actually knows it. And for someone coming from big institutions, my university, for instance, Ken University, organized its own internal interviews to select 10 people that the VC was going to endorse. So you have to even pass that stage before you can actually apply for the scholarship itself.
Yes.
So that is what big institutions or big classes can actually do. I don't know any other university that does it, but that's just how it's done in my university. They call for applications. So you apply through the International Programs Office in my school. And if they select your application, you go for interviews. And if you pass the interview, then you are sure that the VC is going to endorse your application. That's just how it was done in my school. So even though we were really large in number, we did not really have to worry about getting a VC endorsement, because we knew once we had passed the endorsement interview at our university, we were assured of that endorsement.
Yes. And yeah, your school is a special one. I think it goes out of its way to
Above and
Yeah,
beyond.
they are very supportive. See, I'll give it up to IPOK University. I would always
Yeah.
mention their name wherever I go.
Yeah.
They just don't leave your hand until you are done. Yeah. So thank you, Professor Gia, Madam Yvonne, Professor Esme, all of you. Thank you, guys.
Wow,
Yeah.
thank you. And how about Farida? How about you?
Sorry, I missed the question.
Like, do you have could you chat for us generally like a walkthrough? So how do you walk through the process? Like, how do you prepare for the process one by one, tackling that?
I think the first thing, unlike Rachel, is to get your endorsement from the university if you need it. But for some people, they don't need it. I think people that finished schooling a while ago, but if you recently finished schooling, you need that recommendation from your vice chancellor. Without it, your application will not be reviewed. So it's just like a waste of time to do everything, to write your essays, submit your application, and then you don't have your vice chancellor's endorsement. It's just a waste of time. Your application will not be looked at. So that's like the first thing you have to get cleared out. And I think only one person can be endorsed for schools that are not part of the McCall MacBain network. So you need to make sure you're the first person to be endorsed by your university. If someone else has already reached out to your university, then there's no point applying for the scholarship. Only one person can be endorsed by the university. I think once you have that solid and set out, then you have to do your essays, you have to reach out to your other recommenders and pray, because it takes grace to get it.
And I think we'll start from you, Rachel, for this one. It says if you don't have professors willing to review your material, what can you do to make sure your application stands out?
You do not necessarily have to have a professor review your application. You can reach out to just anybody you think would have knowledge and can help guide you. Someone who knows you, like Farida's situation. When she started talking, the person realized that she was putting the wrong thing on the application form. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a professor. You can just reach out to anybody at all you think can help guide you. You can reach out to people who have gone through this experience before to help guide you. Personally, I'm not allowed, or should I say, scholars are not allowed to help applicants with their applications, if I should say. So if you reach out to me and want me to help like review your applications, by contract, I cannot do that. I'll be going against the terms of my contract. But I can give general guidance, just like we are doing right now. But I cannot go into specific to get so personal as to tell you what to put on your application. So reach out to anybody you think knows you very well, because at the end of the day, it's your story that you are telling. So aside you, who do you think knows that story? Who do you think has a fair knowledge of how scholarship applications work and can help guide you? It doesn't necessarily have to be a professor, no. Anybody at all can help you. Yeah.
Yes, and yeah,
And I know, sorry.
Go ahead, Farida. Yeah.
I know scholars, some of them saying they had to like get their parents involved, because who knows you like your siblings, who knows you like your parents. So it's just like, this is what I am writing, and they're like, no, 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 this is, you are not doing so well on this is the one that is better for you. So you do have friends, you do have family members, and these people, they know you so much and they see what you are doing. It just takes someone reading the AC and like this is not it. This is not who you are. I can't feel your passion in this essay. You are not writing it. If I am the scholarship and you're telling me you want to be just 10, the thing you just gave me wouldn't pass because it's too basic and I know you do more than this. So it mustn't be professors, it mustn't be outsiders. Start from your family members, your siblings, start with your friends or people within your university that maybe even your classmates or just someone you work with. These people know you a lot and they can read and see that okay, this I wouldn't select you to be part of the 10 if you give me something like this. So it's that easy.
Yes, yes, very, very nice. Because, you know, brains, it's amazing. Brains are very different. My brain is very different from Rachel. Rachel's brain is very different from Farida. The way I perceive a sentence, he's going to the market. Everybody creates a different picture in their mind. There's a different picture of the market. There's a different picture of who the he looks like. There's a different picture of what it is they're using to go to the market. There's a different picture to, it's a simple sentence, but it can be interpreted in a million different ways, in a million different minds. So it's important. It's not even about professor being, an academic and having gone through the process. It's just a second eye, somebody who's another brain, another person to interpret it or look at it in a different angle, and let you know if you're being true to yourself. If like you said, if their family, they know you intimately and they know what you're passionate about. If you're kind enough, they'll be honest with you and they'll tell you, this is not you. This is somebody else. Be honest with yourself. I think I have Ruth. Yeah,
Ruth, yes.
go ahead. Oh,
Hi,
Mabel is back.
everybody. Can
Hi,
you hear me?
Ruth.
Hi.
Yes.
Yes, good afternoon. Thank you so much for this session. It was really educative. My question is to Rachel. How
Okay.
many people are they going to be selected? Because I'm a bit confused. Is it that we are meeting the whole of West Africa and one person is being selected? That's what it's called, the regionals, or there's something else? And then to you, Rachel, again, I now understand why my message has been hanging in LinkedIn because I reached out to you. Yeah,
Oh,
I reached out to you, I think 2 times. The first time I waited, I think a month or two, and then I reached out again. But still, yeah.
oh my God.
But it makes sense now. It makes sense now. I understand.
Okay, so let me start by saying, probably issue a disclaimer. I am so sorry. If any of you have sent me a message on LinkedIn, I get hundreds of messages almost every week concerning the scholarship. I am not able to go through all my LinkedIn messages. So it's not like I'm intentionally ignoring messages. But I am so sorry. I will do better. I will just do better, yes. And concerning the application, so I don't think they have a set number for the number of people they are looking for at the regional levels. I think during my time, the finals, we were 88 people that made it to the finals from all over the world. And the regional interviews are in different batches or in different Farida and I were not in the same interviews. We were in different interviews. And I think my interview were about 5 or 6 people from different countries. There was one from Zimbabwe. There was me, a Nigerian, I think someone from Kenya. They were like different people. But they picked me from my batch. Farida, they picked her from her, but I don't know if they picked another person from Farida's batch. So it's not a set number. Don't go in thinking about, oh, they are looking for one person. Even if they are looking for that person, what if you are that person? Do you get it? Do not think about the number of people they are looking for. Focus on how you are going to sell yourself to the interviewers, how you are going to tell your story. Forget about the background someone is coming from. Because during my interview, I think I was the only person who was into forestry and natural resources, and it did not really seem like a big deal. Like, what is forestry? I had engineers, people from health sciences. I'm sure if I had met Farida, who was into cancer research, I would have been like, oh, I stand no chance. Like, no. But it wasn't it. It was just how I told my story that made me stand out and I got selected. Do you get it? So do not worry about the number of people they are looking for. Even if they are looking for that one person, have it in mind that I'm going to be that person. And just focus on how you are going to stand out and be that one person that they are looking for. And then when you get to finals, they are looking for 10 international students and 20 Canadians. Focus on how you are going to be part of that 10 that they are looking for. Forget about where someone is coming from, the number of people they are looking for. And no, even if they are looking for one person, tell yourself that you are going to be that one person. If they are looking for 5, you are going to be part of the 5. Move with that mindset and focus on how you are going to achieve that mindset. And let the other things worry about themselves. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, I know, like with LinkedIn, we reached out to so many callers for this one. And
Oh.
to be fair with you, like it's very hard to clear the inbox, especially on a busy day. But yeah, like thank you so much, Ruth, for joining this session and asking that question. And I've put the link of our WhatsApp group in the chat. So this and next gen grows across the continent, because our journey is, as we said, to level to equal. Education is the only equalizer when it comes to the different passions we have in life, and we believe such scholarships should be for everybody, be it West Africa, be it North Africa. And the fact that you actually took the time to join shows how far you're willing to commit to the goal. And yeah, so thanks for the question. And yeah, go ahead, check out the link. For those who haven't joined, try to join the WhatsApp group, because we share a diverse amount of opportunities out there. And we bring to you such, great webinars, great, the likes of Rachel and Farida, who will take you step by step through the process.
I think people still have questions in the
Yes,
chats.
Mabel, go ahead. Yeah. Let's first handle Mabel, and then we'll come to the chat. I think it was Rachel asking.
Okay.
Yeah, hi. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, we
Yeah,
can
I
hear.
can hear you.
Okay. Thank you very much for having this session with us. I mean, I'm so inspired. At a point, I was feeling like hey, it's just 10 people, but I think Rachel said something that don't think about like the finals, like who is going to be selected and all that. And I think I've been so inspired. So I want to ask 2 major questions. The first one is to you, Rachel. In your submission, you made mention of like the fact that you got 2 recommenders from your 2 like from your 2 strongholds like academics and community engagement. Even though I know as part of the application that has also been indicated there, I want to know, so in terms of the other aspects like entrepreneurship and all those things, let's say you have things you've done in that aspect but you are not very strong in all. I don't know if you get it. Maybe out of the 5, you are very strong in 4, and for the last one, you're like halfway there and halfway there. Do you think you would still stand a chance? That's what I want to know. That's the first question.
Okay. So to answer that question, I think I said it earlier that I wasn't strong in all the criteria, especially entrepreneurship. The only entrepreneurship experience I had was being part of the Tony Elumedu Foundation. They organize a yearly entrepreneurship, is it school, if I should say, for Africans. You apply, you get in, and then they sort of teach you how to be an entrepreneur. That was the only experience I had. You get it? So I wasn't strong at all. I had no business. Like I had a business plan, like I had a concept of what I wanted to do after that training I got from Tony Elumedu, but I had not done anything when it comes to entrepreneurship. But what I made sure was to focus on the areas that I was really, really good at. And that's why I did not get a recommendation for someone who knew me from Tony Elumedu, because I knew the person, I had done nothing in that aspect for the person to actually recommend me on. That's why I chose my recommenders based on the areas that I know I'm good at. And if questions are asked, I can defend it. And the people who are recommending me can also say good stuff about me. You do not necessarily have to be 100% in all the areas. No. Focus on telling each story how best you know how to. The little that you've done, how can you tell it in a way that it makes sense to the person who's reading it? It doesn't necessarily have to be big. You don't have to do extraordinary. You don't have to make national news for you to feel like, yes, I'm really good in this. No. The little that you've done, focus on telling it in a way that, yes, when someone picks your application, what you've done overshadows the areas that you are not really good in. I don't think I got a lot of questions about entrepreneurship, no. Because I put a lot of effort into my community engagement work, that most of the questions I got came from there. And because I had a recommendation based on that area of my life, they knew that, yes, this is what I've done. Entrepreneurship questions, I could say I got like little to none. So do not like think about not being perfect in all the criteria or not having enough experience in any criteria. No, you don't have to have it all. No, I did not have it all. No, I didn't. And I'm still here. So yeah.
Farida, did you want to say anything?
I think people often think entrepreneurial spirit is you starting something. It doesn't mean you starting a business or starting an initiative. Even within an organization, you taking the step to do something innovative is also part of it. And all through your application, when you write things and you say, okay, I was a leader, I started so and so in my community, I did so and so. It's part of it because you did something innovative and it counts. So and when it comes to recommendation, they don't really specify who you should pick. As long as one, the person can speak on your academics, which is the first person you have to get, and the second person should be able to speak on your community. So your community can be in any aspect. If you are for example, for me, I'm a pharmacist. If I decide to get a pharmacist to recommend me, saying, okay, this is being in a pharmacy is my community, then fine, there's no problem with that. You can choose someone that you volunteer with. It can be anybody, as long as they've worked with you within your community, no matter what your community is, or no matter what you define your community to be, then that person is perfect for the recommendation.
Mhm. Yeah, thank you so much, Farida and Rachel. And yeah, this was a 90-minute conversation, and the two guests I think, were very generous with us with the time. It's 15 more minutes. There's one more question. If you have one other burning question, please raise your hand and we'll take it in the next 5 minutes. But yeah, Gabriel.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. My question is directed to both of them, both Rachel and Farida. And I like to start my question with an instance. So let's say that my whole thing, what I want to do is to contribute to mitigating the climate crisis. But then my community engagement, my leadership potential, all don't actually lead me to contributing to the climate crisis. But then it's different, it's diverse in a way. So how then do I tweak my application to make me stand out, in the field that I want to contribute?
I think I can answer that. You don't need to tweak anything. As I said, I came for cancer research, and the only time I mentioned cancer research was just in that essay. My community was entirely different. It was working with women. And this is, unless I decide to just make it related to cancer, but it was women empowerment. My leadership was youth empowerment. So if what you want to study, it does not matter. It is in no way related to your leadership or your community. They are very different applications, and it's the same thing for a lot of scholars. You see scholars that are like nurses or lawyers, but what they are working on, most of them like advocating for women, advocating for youth, advocating for climate. It doesn't matter. The only reason why they want you to mention that climate is to, like you have to talk about the cost. It's just to see that it's a right fit for you, because there are certain criteria you have to meet at McGill, and that's just what they want to know. Like, okay, you are coming to McGill, Do you know exactly what you want to do? Because they'll be investing a lot of money in you. So you need to be very certain that this is what you want to do. And for me, how very unimportant it is I initially applied for human genetics, but I didn't later do human genetics. I came in with experimental medicine. So you can even change. So you say you want to do climate now. If you decide to come to McGill and do conservation, the scholarship does not stop you from doing that. And that's why they ask you to list two or more departments that you would like to. So you see, so you can say, okay, I want to do law, I want to do governance. It means nothing. The application is reviewed in a very holistic way, and be diversify what you write. You don't have to like, oh, this is climate, then my leadership must be in climate. My community must be in climate. Because I remember one of the scholars then said the interview she had, like when she came in, she was asked a question like, what else do you do aside your academics? Because um leadership was very, very related to academics. A community was in academics. And it was like, okay, what else do you do? Who are you outside the academics? Because we want someone that has done so many things. So you even writing all these things shows that you can survive at McGill. You are very, this is entrepreneurship. Like you can do a lot of things. So don't limit yourself. Write everything you want to write.
And if I should add to what Farida just said, you do not have to have a very coherent or balanced story. They do not have to fit into each other so perfectly. No, because the scholarship application is very different from the school application at McGill. That is what maybe is confusing people. You need to apply to the school and apply for the scholarship. So what you are going to do at McGill is not really part of the application process. They are two different things. So you can talk about what you've done for the application and focus on what you want to do for the school admission. I don't know if it makes sense. If you want to do climate science or really venture into climate change, look at courses at McGill that will pave the way for you to get to that point. And then tell the stories, the experiences you've had, the things you've done, how you've impacted your community for the scholarship. They are not going to question why you say you want to do climate change, but you're probably working with girls or orphanage, or no, they are not going to question that at all. So whatever experience that you have, instead of focusing on perfection, just focus on how best you are going to tell that story. And that's just it.
Sure. Yes, I mean, you guys are great. Like you talk about now the McGill part, and it's very different from McCall MacBain. And it just unravels a whole slew of questions that I really want to ask right now. But
Yeah,
like,
you can ask.
but I mean, we're tight on time right now, and I think what we're gonna do here is all the questions that we have that are unanswered, we're going to try to wrap them up in an email and send it out to our to whoever signed up for this session. So we have that continued engagement with our audience here. Thank you so much, Rachel and Farida. You two have been great guests. Very eloquent. Like I said, if I was to give out the scholarship, I don't think I would have picked anybody else than you, based on what we have gone through the past 90 minutes. And yeah, so thank you so much for the for your kind insight into how this goes. A special thank you to again Rachel, the director, Mukashima, for her tight coordination to make this event possible. I would like to thank the director, the founder himself, Mr. Kalisa Julius, with us here in the background, the whole entire team, Mr. Oze, Alba from communications. The list goes on. It's endless. I don't know if Rachel wanted to say something before we close. But yeah, thank you so much for Rachel. Over to you. Yeah.
Oh my God, I don't know where to begin with. These sessions, each and every time we have them, they always leave me with our words because it's just a platform with different people from different backgrounds all coming together to solve a problem, to support one another. That really is something I feel even though big governments are trying to achieve, but they can't. But it's something we're achieving right now. And we couldn't have really made it possible without, the contributions of Rachel and Farida. And there's somewhere I heard Farida saying, I don't know what these guys consider to choose me and Rachel, but if someone, to anybody who listened to you guys for the past 2 hours, almost 2 hours, they can really tell, yeah, it had to be you guys because you can hear the passion, you can just feel it within the person that, yeah, this person really did deserve to have this opportunity. And the main purpose of having these kinds of platforms is to shed light on these opportunities because here on this platform, we have a lot of people who didn't even know the word McCall MacBain, By the time they leave this session, they are going to know more, not just the name, but know that it's an opportunity that can get them closer to their dreams. So it's it's like changing lives actually. So thank you very much. I'm really humbled to each and every person who has, took the time to, come together, hear from us, strangers, but hear what we had to say. It really means a lot. And I know people had a lot of questions because of the technical issues we had at the start. We had to disable the chat box, but then questions still, kept coming in. I think that's why Conrad said maybe we have to draft some sort of email where we can try to address those questions. But I think the fact that people are now, asking the how, when, those are very key questions. That means at least there is some sort of light that has been shed on these opportunities. And again, this platform has been one amazing platform because we had some of our mentors from Next Gen. I saw Martinu, I think he left, but we had Martinu for the 1 hour and a half. That is amazing. We had our founder, Mr. Julius, that was something on this session. And also we were privileged to have, some of our mentees who are currently in the grad mentorship program preparing for this. So I know for them, they had to have their pen and a book noting this down because these are the kind of opportunities we encourage them to look out for. So thank you very much for engaging with us, taking the time, to, contribute to this.
Guys, Next Gen is for everyone, and we're not short of positions for either mentors or people. If you have any sort of skill and would like to be a part of a community that elevates the education experience for every African or every person in the world, because we're trying to take it to the next level here, please feel free to reply to the email that was sent with your set of technical skills. If you want to be a mentor, if you want to take on uh, communications, anything, we are very eager to have you on board. Feel free to reach out to us, and we'll be happy to welcome you into the bigger and growing family of Next Gen. So with that being said, I think Rachel has dropped off, but I will take on the power of directors and call this an end, call it to an end. And yes, we will keep in contact with whoever was part of this through the email. And yeah, thank you for your time. I don't know if you have any parting words for Rachel and Farida. I know I took most of the words.
Thank you guys so much for organizing this and for inviting me to talk to people who are interested in this scholarship. But then before I go, I would like to say, I saw a question, someone asking if you have to have a first class to apply or to get the scholarship. I don't think so. You just have to have good grades, I think, because during my interview, my grades never came up at all. There was no mention about the fact that I was a first class student. So do not worry about that. Focus on selling yourself. And like I told the cohort that came for final interviews last year and 2 years ago, nobody can tell your story than you. So focus on telling that story the best way you know how to. Forget about the competition, where people are coming from, their background, the experiences that people have that you do not have, the connections that people have and you do not have. Just focus on yourself and just leave the rest to God. Like, you cannot leave God out of anything. So do your best and leave the rest to God and just see how it works. And if this opportunity doesn't work for you, there are countless opportunities out there that you can explore. You get it? Just believe in yourself that you are doing something great. And the fact that you even had a chance, you saw this opportunity and you thought that you qualify for it, it's enough to let you know that yes, you are doing something. And if this doesn't work, it doesn't mean any other opportunity out there would not work. Never stop, keep trying until you get to where you want to get to. So yeah, thank you guys again for having me. And no, I will do better with the LinkedIn messages. I would do better. I am so sorry to anybody who has reached out. It just gets overwhelming sometimes, but I'll try my best.
For sure, for sure. And Farida?
Thank you so much for having me here today. I feel very honored to be called because it means I'm doing something right. And I wish everybody good luck. I know it's not easy, but this is not the end of the world. It's just like a very, very, very tiny part of everything you're going to achieve. And this is not like the only part. There are different ways to achieve greatness, and you can always explore that. Don't give up. It's hard. You always want to give up, but you only know if you're going to get there if you try. Or if you don't try, you always keep wondering. So keep trying, keep going. Your story will also change and it will change for better. Good luck.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you so much. Yeah, and spread the word. We need mentors. We need all sorts of talent on our team.
I'm
And
so busy now, but like give me the next 2, 3 months when I'm not thinking
yes,
about life. Yeah, I can come back to you.
for sure, for sure. We would be happy to have you on the brother team of Next Gen. So yes. Rachel, you're back. Do you want to take the powers to close it, or should I just say it's over?
This is on you.
All right. Thank you
And
so much.
yeah,
Thank you, everybody. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
bye.